1 Samuel chapter 20. David got out of Naioth in Ramah alive and went to Jonathan. What do I do now? What wrong have I inflicted on your father that makes him so determined to kill me? Nothing, said Jonathan. You've done nothing wrong, and you're not going to die. Really, you're not. My father tells me everything. He does nothing, whether big or little, without confiding in me. So why would he do this behind my back? He can't be. But David said, your father knows that we are the best of friends. So he says to himself, Jonathan must know nothing of this. If he does, he'll side with David. But it's true, as sure as God lives, and as sure as you're alive before me right now, he's determined to kill me. Jonathan said, tell me what you have in mind. I'll do anything for you. David said, tomorrow marks the new moon. I'm scheduled to eat dinner with the king. Instead, I'll go hide in the field until the evening of the 3rd. If your father misses me, say, David asked if he could run down to Bethlehem, his hometown, for an anniversary reunion and worship with his family. If he says, good, then I'm safe. But if he gets angry, you'll know for sure that he's made up his mind to kill me. Oh, stick with me in this. You've entered into a covenant of God with me, remember? If I'm in the wrong, go ahead and kill me yourself. Why bother giving me up to your father? Never, exclaimed Jonathan. I'd never do that. If I get the slightest hint that my father is fixated on killing you, I'll tell you. David asked, and whom will you get to tell me if your father comes back with a harsh answer? Come outside, Jonathan said. Let's go to the field. With the two of them out in the field, Jonathan said, as God, the God of Israel, is my witness, by this time tomorrow, I'll get it out of my father how he feels about you. Then I'll let you know what I learn. May God do his worst to me if I let you down. If my father still intends to kill you, I'll tell you and get you out of here in one piece. And God be with you as he's been with my father. If I make it through this alive, continue to be my covenant friend. And if I die, keep the covenant friendship with my family forever. And when God finally rids the earth of David's enemies, stay loyal to Jonathan. Jonathan repeated his pledge of love and friendship for David. He loved David more than his own soul. Jonathan then laid out his plan. Tomorrow is the new moon, and you'll be missed when you don't show up for dinner. On the 3rd day, when they've quit expecting you, come to the place where you hid before and wait beside that big boulder. I'll shoot 3 arrows in the direction of the boulder. Then I'll send off my servants. Go find the arrows. If I yell after the servant, the arrows are on this side, retrieve them. That's the signal that you can return safely, as God lives. Not a thing to fear. But if I tell you the arrows are further out, then run for it. God wants you out of here. Regarding all these things we've discussed, remember that God's in on this with us to the very end. David hid in the field. On the holiday of the new moon, the king came to the table to eat. He sat where he always sat, the place against the wall, with Jonathan across the table and Abner at Saul's side. But David's seat was empty. Saul didn't mention it at that time, thinking, something's happened that made him unclean. That's it, he's probably unclean for the holy meal. But the day after the new moon, day 2 of the holiday, David's seat was still empty. Saul asked Jonathan, his son, so where's that son of Jesse? He hasn't eaten with us either yesterday or today. Jonathan said, David asked my special permission to go to Bethlehem. He said, give me leave to attend a family reunion back home. My brothers have ordered me to be there. If it seems all right to you, let me go and see my brothers." So that's why he's not here at the king's table. Saul exploded in anger at Jonathan. "You son of a slut. Don't you think I know that you're in cahoots with the son of Jesse, disgracing both you and your mother? For as long as the son of Jesse is walking around free on this earth, your future in this kingdom is at risk. Now, go get him. Bring him here, for from this moment, he's as good as dead." Jonathan stood up to his father. "Why dead? What's he done?" Saul threw his spear at him to kill him. That convinced Jonathan that his father was fixated on killing David. Jonathan stormed from the table, furiously angry, and ate nothing the rest of the day. Upset for David and smarting under the humiliation from his father. In the morning, Jonathan went to the field for the appointment with David. He had his young servant with him. He told the servant, "Run and get the arrows I'm about to shoot." The boy started running, and Jonathan shot an arrow way beyond him. As the boy came to the area where the arrow had been shot, Jonathan yelled out, "Isn't the arrow further out?" He yelled again. "Hurry, quickly, don't just stand there." Jonathan's servant then picked up the arrow and brought it to his master. The boy, of course, knew nothing about what was going on. Only Jonathan and David knew. Jonathan gave his quiver and bow to the boy and sent him back to the town. After the servant was gone, David got up from his hiding place beside the boulder, then fell on his face to the ground 3 times, prostrating himself. And then they kissed one another and wept, friend over friend, David weeping especially hard. Jonathan said, "Go in peace. The 2 of us have vowed friendships in God's name, saying God will be the bond between me and you, and between my children and your children forever."